Hello guys, so we're back in another C programming tutorial video, and this time we will be actually creating our first project, our first program in C language. So let's do it. Click on create a new project and go to console application. Of course the language is C. Project title. So you can name your project any way you want. I will call it C Programming Tutorials because I will use this project in the future videos, so it's easier for me. Okay, so next and finish. So let's go to our main. So as you can see, every time you make a new project in code blocks, you will get this little piece of code, which is actually a very simple and small program. And the purpose of it, it's to write a hello world on the screen. So when you run this program, actually you will be getting hello world printed out on your screen. So I will show you right now. If you want to run the program, you just need to click here, build and run. This button is build, this is run, and this is used for doing both of that at the same time. So build means actually you compile the program, you check for errors, and then you run it. So you can do it right now, build and run. And as you can see, we have it here, hello world. So let's talk a little bit about all of these pieces of this program. So what are these, for example, lines, and what is this? So in the first two lines, we're actually including two files. These both files are type header type files, because of this .h. The first one stands for standard input output, and the second one is for standard library. That is not important for now. Like, it's used to include all the predefined functions in our program so we can use it. For example, this printf is predefined function, which is used to print something out on the screen. So we don't actually need to make a new function. So I'm saying function, word function. So let me explain that. When you type any type of code in C language, you always use functions, and every C program has to have at least one function, and that is this main function. As the word says, it's main, it has to have it. Okay, so every function, it has its name, of course, and you actually can't make two functions with the same name. It has this brackets. Inside of these brackets we write arguments for function. In this case we don't need any arguments, so we leave that empty. It can be left empty, but this int is actually a type for the value that this function returns. So every function needs to return something, and this specifies that the return value will be a type int. In C, we have different types. I will talk a little bit about that later in the future videos. But for now, it's enough for you to know that every function needs to return something, except for the void function, which when accomplishes its task, returns the control to the callee. We'll talk about a little bit about that later. So every function has these curly brackets, and this here, everything that is between these curly brackets is the body of the function. And in the body of the function, we specified what that function does. We write our code inside of that function. Maybe we're calling other functions. Like, for example, here, printf, we're calling the function printf to print out this on the screen inside of the main function. That is allowed, actually. So, as we've seen before, this writes on the screen hello world. So you might notice this \n. So what does that do? In C we have some characters, and this, for example, is used to go to new line. So if we write something behind this, like this should be in a new line, And if we run this right now, this text should be in the new line. Like if we run it, okay, it is. So good. If we put a \n here, maybe double \n, it should, so logically it should skip 2 rows now. Let's try to do it. Okay, so it did. It skipped here to the new line and here to the next line, to the second line, and continued everything that is behind. So for example, we can add here another printf. And right here, different printf. For example, if we run this program now, it will report an error. As you can see, this red rectangle here. And down here, we can see our errors. So it says in line number 8, we have an error, expected semicolon before return. So before this return, this program expects to have a semicolon. So if we put actually semicolon here, everything will work. So that means that at the end of every line, we need to put this. Like this is one command, do this, and then semicolon. Then do this, semicolon. Then do this, semicolon. So when we command something, we need to finish it, every command with semicolon. So when we run this now, as you can see, hello world, then we have \n here, it skips it to the new line and continues. This should be in a new line. This should be in a new line. And we have another printf, different printf, but it's written here. And why is that? So in C, it isn't important where you place your code. Like this can actually be up here. So it was down there. So the program won't understand that it needs to be placed in the new line just because this printf is here. Like if we do it here, it will print out the same. If we want to make it in the new line, we have to put here, for example, \n. And now it will be in the new line, as you can see. And we can put it here also, like \n. And that's it. So I will delete this for now. Okay, let's get back to the original project. So this was the first project, the original. So this return 0. Actually, when we run this program, here it says process return 0. So that means that this function, the main function, returns 0. And that usually means if it returned the number that is here, for example, if it's 1, it will return 1 if executed correctly. So if it returns 0, that means if it returns anything that's here, that means this program executed correctly. And if we have some error or mistake in our program, it usually returns a code for that error, but that is not so important right now. So, and this return is actually a keyword which stops execution of the program. So, for example, when we run this program, when we click build and run, first, what's happening is the build up, like the build, like compiling. And the program checks for some errors. Like for example, if we have it here, like printf, hello, I don't know, \n tutorial. And when we run this, when we click on build or build and run, first it's this is happening, so build. And it's checking for this program, it's compiling it and checking if it has any errors. So click on build. Oh, we have an error. We need to have semicolon before this. Okay, if we put that here. And now try to build it. Okay, so now we don't have any errors. It's the same when we click this. It will try to build it and that will not be successful, so it will report an error. When we put this here, it will be able to build it and to run it. But right now, when we run it, we just get this hello world. And we don't have this tutorial. And that is because this return keyword actually stops the execution of this function. Like whenever a program gets this return, that means you need to stop that function. And everything below it won't be executed. Everything below it inside that function won't be executed. That is because first, what's happening when we build it, it checks for errors. And then when you click run, actually it includes this, and it goes one command at a time. So okay, printf hello world. Like for example, if we have here printf test, and I don't need a backslash, and I'll put it here. I don't need it even because I have it here. So first command, printf hello world. So program prints that out on the screen very fast, but it always does it one command at a time. So next command, printf test, then it will print out test, and then it says return 0. Like when it and this keyword we said it before, it's stopping the execution of the program. So the execution is stopped. So everything that is below won't be executed. Like as you can see, we have hello world, test, and then process return 0. And it stopped the execution of this function. So that is actually what this return does. So this was really simple program. We played around a little bit with this printf function. In the next video, we will learn new functions and variables. We will talk a little bit about variables too. And that would be pretty much it for this video. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel too, and see you next time.